Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry it's so late in the day. This morning we were a little busy with combination of waking up and getting the dog a bath and Jerry her bath and shower. Sorry, my brain is kind of like what, but anyhow, Jerry did her morning chat, and now I'm in here to do my Bible chat. The first one I'm going to read is Thessalonians. Excuse me. First Thessalonians 1:3, and it says here, we remember before our God and Father your work produced by faith, your labor promoted by love, and your endurance inspired by hope in our Lord Jesus Christ. Now that's kind of interesting because, we do a lot of things and we claim to be doing it in the name of God, whether it's faith, love, endurance, whatever. We're always claiming to be doing the works that we do for God. I'm not against that because a lot of people don't have a spouse or kids or a reason to do a lot of the things that we do other than just survival of the fittest. Faith, the thing about faith, now I'm going to break this down. The thing about faith, I mean, we, a lot of us do a lot of good things out of faith, blind faith, because it's not that we don't have somebody to believe in. It's just a lot of us have a hard time, and I'm one of those, have a hard time in believing in things that I cannot pinpoint. Like in the Viking mythology or the Viking lifestyle during their time, there was always evidence of one thing or another that promoted people to follow the Norse deities. And that's the same way with a lot of pagan religions. They look for something that is physical, something that they can touch, something that they can see, something that they can understand, and they follow that belief system. Christianity is not very far from that because a lot of Christians wake up every morning and they feel that because they woke up, because there's clouds in the sky, because there's sun to warm your body, to warm your back, things of that is enough for a lot of people to say, yes, God created this. Well, every origin story has a creation story. The thing with me especially, and this is something I always have had trouble with since as far back as I can remember, is I look for tangency. I look for tangent evidence that make me go, yes, science can't explain this away. Now, no, I'm not into the Scientology mumbo jumbo, but I am one of these people that are I don't just go out by blind faith. I need a little bit more than just simply blind faith. And just with my puppy, just with Oreo, I see a lot of things through Oreo that this is not, this is not your everyday average puppy. I mean, every puppy has its own personality. And a lot of scientists and a lot of people who don't believe that living things have a spirit, has some sort of tangible energy that makes them what they are. And I look at Oreo, and one moment I'm like annoyed and ready to toss her out the door without a collar on. But then just the way she looks up at me at the end of the day, or when she's laying in my lap, or when she's just relaxing next to me. It's one of those, like, you can sense or feel that, yes, this dog has a soul. You know, it has a spirit of one form or another. And to me, that's just tangible proof that there is a God. Because I don't care what science say. I mean, when it comes to nature and when it comes to animals and whatnot, science can't prove it away. Can't just, you know, talk out of the box or whatever you want to call it. You know, and then we have, you know, labor promoted by love. Well, anybody who loves their family, whether they've got a spouse or they're still living with their parents or whatnot, um, you know, you do a lot of stuff for your family and your close relatives and friends out of love. You know, there's, you know, and a lot of times you don't even do it, you know, prompted by love. You just do it because you love the person or persons. Um, I can go back to my, I can go back to my childhood. I was in my mid to late teens. My my one cousin, Susan, lived with her mom until her mom moved to Prescott, and Susan stayed in Phoenix because she had a really good job there. Um, you know, we do a lot of stuff out of love for our family. And some of us step outside of just the family box and do stuff that, yeah, we might be doing it because it's a labor of love, but we're not doing it just because we're told to do it. We're not doing certain things just because our boss demands it. No, we're doing it because we love our job and we love working with the people who need our services. You know, I don't do it just because my boss tells me to. No, no. If I had a job that there was no love in the work, I wouldn't be there. You know, yes, I have a problem with one of my bosses. So what? You know, I only see her a couple times out of the week for 2 hours, unless it's one of those days where she's working until we close, and even then she disappears. But I'm not doing it for her, and I'm not really doing it for myself because I tell you what, I mean, a lot of things that's been going on at my work because of who knows what, and I didn't love my job. No, the second the boss started, you know, chewing me out for no reason just because, you know, I was part of the night crew and the night crew should have done this, da, 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 da. No, no. I would have been like, see you. In fact, to be honest with you, there have been several jobs here in Rolla way back in the, you know, before the 2000s that I got annoyed at the boss or whatnot and just went, bye. I'm not going to be treated like a pile of shit just because. No. But then we go down to the endurance inspired by hope. Well, we have hope. You know, we have hope in our spouses. We have hope in our community. We have hope in our jobs. There's a lot of things that we hope for. But what are we really, really pointing our hope towards? Are we pointing it towards the love of our family? Are we pointing it towards a good job, a good salary? What are we really hoping for? Well, as somebody who's not only been a Christian, returning to Christianity, understanding Christianity, attempting suicide on multiple attempts, my only hope is that when Judgment Day comes, that I've done everything to clean my slate of my wrongdoings, and my hope will be that, you know, the blood of Christ will be my redemption. You know, I can't sit back and hope that, you know, hey, yeah, I put in money for the lottery. I'm hoping to be the next winner. That's a game of chance. That's a hopeless game. That's, you know, someone who's desperate or just dreaming a bigger dream than is what their life is supposed to be part of. Yeah, if I wanted to play the lotto and hope that, it's my turn to win something, you know, like I said, that's a game of craps. But anyhow, before I go to the next verse, I, I forgot that this particular notebook, which I'm going to continue to use until I've used it up, has these little Bible verses at the end of the page. And this particular page's Bible verse is, "Pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge." Psalms 62:8. Now, that's, I understand what that means. That means literally giving yourself wholeheartedly to God. My problem is, and maybe this is my issue, maybe this is the one issue that I don't know how to deal with. I don't know how to pour out my heart to an unseen, unknown. And I don't mean I don't know the idealism of God, because I've been dealing with idealism of gods for a very long time. But the thing is, we are human, and a lot of us want to see, instantaneous results. We don't like the waiting game. I should know I don't like it because I grew up in it. But I don't like waiting on anything. If I want something, I'm either going to work my tail end off for it, or I'm just going to let it go. Because I don't like the waiting game. That's my biggest issue. I don't like waiting. And, there are certain things of this world that are tangible. It's within my grasp if I can just get certain things under control. And sometimes when I think Jerry Ann and I are on the same page, and all of a sudden the money disappears or something goes wrong, and I'm not the one in control of it, I'm like, who do I blame? Do I blame myself for maybe spending a little too much for food, or not working hard enough? Or do I blame Jerry, who I'm not trying to dog her or put her down, but she is the one who's basically in control of the money? Problem is, we're both getting at that age where her with the cancer and whatnot is having foggy brain, or what she calls cancer brain, and I'm getting at that age where my brain just can't retain the important information that it needs to retain for our livelihood. So it's like I don't blame nobody for any negative results around the house, because it could be 3,000 different things, and we won't be able to find the one thing that we need to deal with until we can clear, all the other junk. It is what it is. The next one is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, and it says, "Above all, keep loving one another eternally, since love covers a multitude of sins." Now, I like that one because I know I'm flawed. I have a lot of sinful thoughts. I have a lot of, things that just a lot of people would not encourage, because, a lot of people want to look at various aspects of other people's lives and go, "Oh, yeah, no, you're not going to make it." And it's like, well, we don't know. I try my hardest every day to try to love my wife, and there are times where it's literally, I don't know if I can, because of this thing or that thing, or just miscommunications, misunderstandings, and I have to literally, step backwards take a couple steps away from the situation, which sometimes is hard to do, and analyze it and figure out what's going wrong. Where am I? Where am I going wrong? What am I doing wrong? What did I say wrong? What has put us on the edge once again? And there are times where I realize, okay, no, it wasn't just me. It was a joint effort. We both misunderstood each other. We both had a lack of communication. It's one thing to sit there and go me, especially if you're like, a person like me who, blames himself or herself for the wrongdoings without going, wait a minute, there's two people in this party. Now you don't want to sit there and go, it's all the other person's fault, but you want to sit there and analyze. You want to think, okay, what did we do? It's not a single person. You're married. What did we do wrong? Where did the communication go wrong? What did I say wrong? Or what did she say wrong? Or why is it the way it is? Is it a improper communication? Is it a improper understanding? What could be the source of the problem? Because once you find the source of the problem and deal with the source of the problem, maybe things can go back to normal. Because no matter what we do, especially if we're spouses, it's hard. There have been multiple times where I wanted to just pack up and leave. Before the cancer, during the cancer, there have been times where I'm just like, I cannot deal with it. Then I have to realize, no, you can deal with it. You just have to deal with it differently than what most people are telling you. I love advice. I love good, hearty advice. But it's up to me to listen to that advice or how to deal with that advice. Or what has happened multiple times is I hear the advice and go, well, that sounds great, but will it work for me? So there's been a lot of times where I've taken advice and I've scrutinized it and went, okay, if I did it this way instead of this way, it will work for me. Because I don't think like the average human being. Never have. The age-old mathematical question: what's faster, a straight line or a curve? A loop, not a curve, just a wide angle. Some people say the straight line. Some people say the curve. Well, when you're talking about, flight travel, because the planet is curved, a curve actually gets you there faster. But that's just that's the way my brain thinks. Sorry, a combination of thirst and this is really good juice. But as Christians, I know it's difficult sometimes to love somebody who is acting out or you feel like they're not understanding you or listening. You still have to love them. I don't know my neighbors. I really don't know my neighbors. But, hey, they came over here to ask for assistance or something like that. I am willing to help because that's the type of person I am. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, that's a good way to get hurt a lot. Yes, it is. But the thing is, it's not about that person. It's not. It's about you. Did you help them? Did you feel good about it? If you helped them and you feel good about it, hey, nothing wrong. But if it's one of those situations where you help them and they're known for not returning, borrowed items, and you don't feel good about it, well, from what I understand, if you don't feel good about something, you shouldn't do it. You should stop. You should just, no, can't help you no more. You know, I know a lot of people will get upset about that, but the thing is, you got to explain it to them so they understand why you're not willing to help anymore. Well, last time you helped me, you borrowed my drill, and here we are 3 weeks later, and you haven't returned it yet. You know, if they're coming over and asking for a cup of sugar, well, of course, give them a cup of sugar. I mean, sugar you can go buy and replace. Sugar is not like a prized drill or screwdriver or, hey, yeah, I've got screwdrivers. I can loan them to you, but I need them back because they're heirlooms. They're from my father. A lot of my craftsman equipment is from my dad. I've given up a lot of that, a lot of the extras that were my father's, because it's like, I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to use it. I've got 15 of them already. Why do I need another one? It's not like I've got 16 arms. Of course, sometimes I feel like I need 16 arms, but we as Christians are supposed to be the light of the world so they can see what Christ can do in a person. Now, I know people are probably like, oh, well, you're one to talk. Well, yeah, I know I'm one to talk. It's easier for me to preach than practice. I have a hard time practicing what I preach. I really do. But the thing is, look at Ethan Hawking. Man is crippled. But he is a genius, when it comes to astronomy and science. But he does a lot of preaching. So we can't sit there and go, well, if you can't walk the walk while you're preaching, preaching what you're preaching, then why should we listen? Well, a lot of people can do the exact opposite of what other people think. Some people are great ministers, but they're full of sin. Now, that right there is something, I might be like looking at with a square look on my face or whatever you want to call it. But there are plenty of people out there who can preach a great story. And their life experience shows that they know what they're talking about. But we can't always expect the best out of people. We are flawed beyond all understanding. But the thing is, our flaws are also our strengths. Because, okay, let's say I can't, let's say something happens and I can't walk anymore. Is that going to stop me from going outside and trying to do stuff? Is that going to stop me from learning how to drive again? Is that going to stop me from enjoying my life? No. It's just like Jerry Ann. Yes, Jerry Ann has a sickness. It's gone into, I don't know if it's gone into remission, but it's healing. She's gotten permission from her doctor to basically just walk around with a cane. And sometimes she can make it from the bedroom to the living room without that cane. But I wouldn't ask her to walk any further. Jan and I and her home health person literally purged a bunch of stuff over the last week. Jerry, for the most part, sat wherever she could, examined the items that were brought to her, decided which ones she wanted to keep and which ones she was going to let go. We downsized about 75% of the stuff we had. Hey. And whatever she wanted to keep, she either put it in her tote, in a storage bin so we can put it outside. Yes, outside because it's like everything's now going out in either the utility shed or the shed. I didn't know what to call it. But the thing is, sometimes we're slow. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're lost because we don't know where to put stuff or what to do with it. And we don't want to get rid of it. It's like somebody coming up to you with two of your favorite books and telling you you have to choose one to keep. The other one is going to Salvation Army or Goodwill. It's going bye-bye. The other book cannot be had. You cannot get the book. It has to be gone forever because you have no room for both books. What are you going to try to do? Are you going to try to keep one of them that you really, really love? Or you can keep the one that you've read maybe once or twice. You have a choice between your two favorite books. Are you going to keep the oldest one, or are you going to try to keep the newest one? Or are you going to sit there and go, okay, I read that at least 1,000 times, and every time I've opened it in the last week, I close it because I know the whole story. But this other one, which I really like, I've only read once or twice, and I haven't gotten the whole thing down pat. Me, I would say go ahead and get rid of the older one because every time I open it up, I already know what the story is. You have to make a decision. And that's what I kind of did with Jerry. I said, look, I can understand holiday mugs, but not 5 of them. I can understand, Harry Potter coffee mugs, but not 15 of them. It's like, keep the cups that you're going to use, and then we can literally empty out a whole cabinet full of coffee mugs. So we kept like 2 of each holiday that we had, and we got rid of a bunch of the smaller coffee cups we don't use no more. Now, I told Jerry, just because we got rid of all this stuff does not mean you need to run out and buy new stuff. We don't have the space for what we've got right now. And that's one of the reasons why I get upset with her when she buys new stuff, because it's like, okay, where are we going to put it? For instance, now it can be organized. Our big freezer is overflowing with food. The problem is when Jerry and the home health person went to do that stuff, the home health person basically just shoved it into the freezer, did not try to organize it. So me and Jerry, sometime in the next week or so, preferably tomorrow, we need to get in there and organize it and rearrange it and put it in some kind of order. That way, dang it, we can tell what is new and what is old. And, check the dates. Now, most freezer items don't have to be thrown away. But if you ain't got no room for it, you might as well get rid of it. Now, we're hoping, me and Jay are hoping that, dang it, we can go in there sometime in the next couple of days to basically go in there and reorganize it. Dang it, I'm going to have to use some spray for this. Wonder how it got there. It's like right in my line of sight. Yeah, that's going to annoy me. But the thing is, we are currently in a world full of utter chaos. Some of the old religions are becoming more prevalent and more organized, I guess you'd say. But then we have government systems that are collapsing, and I don't mean just in our country, I mean all over the place. We got people who are like I don't know if they're looking to start trouble or what, but like we had somebody online last night that was all for Russia bombing or the Ukraine, either Russia or basically conflict in the Ukraine to carry on. And I'm like, if you look at it the way I look at it, the only way Russia is going to reclaim the Ukraine is to literally obliterate the Ukraine, because the Ukrainians are like, no, we're not going back to being a subject of Russia. But then you have like the Koreans, the Chinese, who basically, I don't know if the Chinese are apparently with the Russians or whatnot, but I really think that with what's going on in the Ukraine, we're heading into dangerous waters. We're heading into an area of existence where, let's just say, the Iron Curtain might end up going back up. I really don't believe that. I hope it doesn't. I really hope that everything in that part of the world starts to settle down, because it's mindless, useless violence. Yes, I can be a violent person, or at least sound like a violent person. I really am not. I mean, yes, I will defend my family. Yes, I will do what I have to do to defend my country, even though my country is kind of falling apart from the inside out. I, I mean, I'm with Biden. Biden sounds like he wants to, make peace. He doesn't want to get involved with the fighting in the Ukraine. He doesn't want to get involved in the possibility of another war or outbreak of, you know, COVID, whatever the level of COVID it is now. He just wants to make America America again. He wants unification. He wants unification of our nation and our people. Problem is, there's too many people who don't want that, and they're willing to do anything and everything they can to disrupt it. I grew up in the Cold War. I grew up during the Cold War, 70s, 80s. I grew up in it. I didn't like that. I mean, when we were in Germany, I did not like I mean, looking back at it, put it this way, looking back at it, I realized that the war games that they had, where they, simulated, they did simulations and whatnot. And during the war games, we were told, if we lived off base, that at nighttime to close the special security blinds, which all European houses have, at least I think they do. And these blinds were designed to cover up every door, every window, every entrance and exit. Anything that can let out light was covered. And this stuff they called it rouladen, and they were like shades that go over the window from like in between. Some of them were the fancy in between, some of them were the outside of the exterior of the house, but they were built to basically cover up the windows and doors. That way, if there were planes flying overhead, they couldn't see the stuff below. Of course, nowadays that's kind of obsolete, because modern day, GPS and this or that, it wouldn't matter, you know. But my thing is, I just want everybody to be happy. I just want everybody to be peaceful. I don't want a lot of hubbubaloo or arguing or anything like that, because it's It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. I mean, every time I start to get stressed out because of the dog or just what's going on in the house or myself, um, it drains me of all my energy. I mean, literally drains me of all my energy. I mean, I come home from work tired, and then the dog starts getting hyper, and Jerry's asking me to do things and stuff like that, and I just kind of go, no. There goes my reserves. I just want to crawl in bed and go to sleep. But that's not the case. I still have, stuff to do. Even if it wasn't for Jerry or the dog. I still have my own stuff to do. I got to take my medicines. I got to get ready for bed. I, got to plan for tomorrow. Things like that. Excuse me. But I think, the words of the Bible, even though a lot of people have troubles with them, and I know because I'm one of those. And that's why I read it so many times, because I want to understand what the Bible is trying to confer or convey. That's what I was looking for, convey. But then there are times where it's just like, I still don't get it. One of the major things that was discovered by a lot of different people, that in the Bible, from Old Testament to New Testament, there was that one theme, and somebody actually tried to count how many times the expression "don't fear" or "don't be afraid." That was one of the expressions that was written throughout the whole Bible. Fear not. Don't be afraid. Various different comments or sentences with the word "don't," with basically the word saying don't be afraid, don't fear anything. Now, I know a lot of people say that we're supposed to be afraid of God. I don't think that's the case. I don't think we need to be fearful of God. I think, just like any other religion, we're not supposed to be fearful of, our chosen hierarchy in our religion. I think we're supposed to be respectful, not fearful, respectful. I think if anything that the Bible might say that not to be afraid of is our enemies. Well, there's very few to no enemies for Christians to worry about anymore. But the thing is, and I can't quote him the greatest, but I can give him my best chance. Mike Warnke, back in the 80s, was a Christian comedian. And he said outright that the biggest problems with Christianity, and this is all the different, groups of people who call themselves Christians, but they don't say, like, you got the Pentecostal, you got the Presbyterian, you got the Baptist, you got the Lutheran, you got the the Christians, the Catholics, and then there's all the other religions that say that they follow Christ, but like Mormons, Latter-day Saints. I don't know how they're affiliated with Christianity, because I read the Book of Mormons and went, who wrote this nonsense? Don't make no dang sense. But Mike Warnke, one of his comic strips, said the biggest problems with Christians is we're either too busy polishing our armor or running around slapping labels on each other. Oh, you're not a Pentecostal? Here, you're a Pentecostal now. That kind of thing. And at first I thought it was funny, but then now, like 30 years later, I'm looking at it going, I'm not saying that he was totally right, but he was very close to the truth of it. Now, Unfortunately, Mike Warnke was discovered to be more of a Satanist than a Christian, but his comments and whatnot about Christianity and us being too busy either polishing our armor or slapping labels on each other. The point of that, I believe, was we're too busy trying to satisfy each other of our beliefs, our belief in Christ. I think we should be more like Christ. Listen to the Father, do what the Father wants us to do, and spread His word without being aggressive or hostile. That's why a lot of Christians turn away from Christianity, because it's becoming too political or too hostile or too, this is the way it should be, and it has nothing to do with what the Bible says. So that's my biggest issue with Christianity, is we're too focused on trying to rewrite the Bible, trying to make the Bible fit our agenda or our desires or our modern day system of what we think is right and wrong. When in truth, we should be loving each other. We should be caring for each other, not tearing each other down, not making each other look like fools or buffoons or anything like that, but to love each other, unconditionally love each other. Now, I know it's hard for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people out there I go, how am I supposed to love that? How am I supposed to love somebody who's arrogant? How am I supposed to love somebody who looks down upon me? And, sometimes I realize it's not about me. I've got everything I want. I've got everything I need. This person, obviously, because of the way they look down on me or the way they talk to me, needs adjustments. Needs just simple, non-arrogant, non-pushy, let's talk about your day. And then let's talk about how Jesus would help you deal with that. Because it's not always about us. I mean, we could be doing great. We can be happy and hunky-dory and just, beaming like the sun itself. But then there's all these people around us that are just like miserable and just don't get what life is about. I know plenty of people that just don't have a clue. Now I've got people who are just like cheerful all the time, and they want to make everybody cheerful as much as they can, and they're doing it by working. They're doing it by helping people. They're doing it by just simple talking to somebody. Have you ever gone up to somebody and said, hey, you look a little down. Is there anything I can do for you? Do you want to talk about it? Is it something you want to deal with? A lot of people will tell you to go away because you're a stranger. Some people are just so desperate for somebody to pay attention to them for just a few minutes or so. Yet we are so busy with our own personal lives that don't really mean squat if we're not trying to love and help each other out. Not push them down in a hole. Not make them feel like garbage. Not treating them like, oh, well, I've got this problem. No. If somebody doesn't come up and ask you about your problems, they're either busy dealing with theirs or they just not paying attention to the world around them. I don't really want to, move up to a mountain cabin and tell the rest of the world to go away. I want to help people, but the thing is, right now, I am so busy trying to fix myself. And it's not like nobody's coming to help me, but I come home and my wife will ask me how my day was, and I will start to tell her what my day was like and how bad it was or how good it was. And then I'm not even done talking, and she'll go, "What about my day? Why don't you ask about my day?" Well, first off, I wasn't done talking about my day. Second off, I really don't want to. It's not that I don't want to hear her how bad her day might have been or how good her day might have been. It's I'm trying to work on me, and if I mean, I can't work on me if people are trying to shove their problems down my throat. And yeah, I'm a little sorry about how I was raised, where if you want something done, do it yourself. You know, that's how I was raised, and I was an only child, so I did not have siblings to go talk to mom and dad about. I didn't have siblings to ask for assistance because mom and dad were too busy with something. Both my parents, before my dad died, were working. They were working to make ends meet. Now, Jerry can't work no more. She can't really do any good jobs in this town. Basically, if she wanted a good office job or desk job, she'd have to go to Jeff City or Springfield or fight with the hospital or something like that. But because of her personality, I personally think she would do well in a medical field as a medical secretary or not a transcriptionist, because that's a lot of typing and a lot of medical jargon you got to remember. But just sitting there being a receptionist, that's what I was thinking of, receptionist. But it is what it is. And I accept my responsibilities, even though some days they get to me to the point where I'm just like, I don't want to talk. I don't have the energy to help anybody. I just want to go flop in bed. I don't even care about changing out of my work clothes. That's how bad I feel sometimes. But I don't do that. I might sit there and go, honey, I am really exhausted. I am really tired. So if you have anything you need me to do, let's do it quick. The faster we get it done, the faster I can go to sleep. I don't fault Jerry for what she does, because for the most part, she feels that she can't do it because of medical reasons, which, from what I understand, she does still have some limitations, but not that many. Basically what the doctor has, or what I heard it from Jerry, I heard it from Lisa, and then I heard it from her home health person, because they were all kind of there. I will say this much. From what I deduced out of the 3 stories is, yes, she has limitations, but not as many as she's putting on herself. She has the no lifting over 15 pounds, no bending for extreme amounts of time, or extreme bending. Those are the only 2 limitations. So basically, she could, from what I understand, do minor house chores. But I'm not going to argue about it with her. I'm just going to continue to tell her, every time she complains about her back hurting, I'm going to say, you need to be bending more. You need to be getting up more. You need to be walking around more. Maybe go to our it's called the center, and they offer water aerobics or a resistance pool, things of that nature, for like $100 a year. And I'm like, they're offering all that stuff for $100? Well, yeah, right now $100 is a little costly, but at the same time, it's worth it. Or sometimes spending $100 on certain things, like the center, which has professional personnel that can and sometimes do get in contact with your medical people to find out exactly what can and cannot be done. And I'm pretty sure they're going to probably say, okay, according to our information from your doctors, you can do the water aerobics, you can do the resistance pool, you can do anything that's basically lightweight and not straining. And if they were to say that, I'd be like, here's your $100. This is my wife. She's the one with the medical problems. Have at it. Because Lisa's offered to basically go with her. She's planning on getting a membership for a short period of time. And I'm like, oh, great. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping Jerry would do that just to be with Lisa for a couple hours a day before Lisa hides away in her room because Oreo wants to jump on her, and that's not good for her sutures right now. So, but anyhow, to end this, because I know I've gone all over the board, I'm just going to say, remember, as Christians, we need to love one another and love those who need our genuine care and our genuine concern for their well-being. Because, I know if I had money, I had the ability or opportunity, I would work at our local shelter and donate to our local shelter and do whatever I can for those who are in need. Right now, unfortunately, I'm in need of, well, the only thing I can say that I'm really in need of is a lot of well-wishing and prayers. So, until next time, I hope you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.